Well, it's that time of year again. We're at North Sails. We're with Michael Coxon, who is the CEO of North Sails in Australia. In Sydney, Michael, it's the summer approaching. It's time to talk sailing again and what's going to happen. And big news today, Comanche.
Yeah.
Tell us all about what's happened on the Transpac.
Well, thanks, Jeff. Thanks for having me on board again. I've only just heard the news that Comanche has smashed the Alfa Romeo Transpac record, which is close to my heart because in 2009 I was with Neville Crichton when we broke that record, and which had been standing for a long, long time. So congratulations to Comanche, who have done a fantastic job. I believe they beat it by quite a few hours. So,
yeah, half a day.
Yeah, fantastic effort, and which is probably not. It's probably understandable because Comanche is a downwind flyer, downwind specialised boat. I know when we did it, Neville went to a lot of trouble. He put a lighter rig in the boat. He put a smaller bulb on. He did a lot to optimise the Rykel Pew to be a downwind boat, which that is a downwind race. Which leads us into Alpha, who was sold. Neville sold her in 2009 after we won the Transpac and then went on to win the Hobart. He then sold it over to Europe, where I think it was sailed as Esmond. And it's just been bought back by Peter Harburg of Blackjack fame, based in Brisbane. And Peter, who has it, the Volvo 70, the people would know the Volvo 70 is famous with the name Blackjack, has now bought the 100-footer, which was Alfa Romeo. So that's actually in the McConaughey shed at the moment, and is being having a bit of tickle up and a bit of refitting, and will be out on the water in the next 2 weeks, hopefully in time for the Gold Coast race.
The Gold Coast race? Yeah,
that's their plan. It's optimistic at this stage because the boat is still in the shed. But I was talking to Mark Bradford yesterday, who is at North Sails Brisbane, and he's running the campaign on behalf of Peter Harburg. And they hope, if we can get all the sales done in time, to have the boat out and racing in 2 weeks' time.
So that's great. If not, they'll certainly be going to Hamo, won't they? Yeah,
the goal is Hamo, and they only made the decision to purchase her since the last Hobart race, so they brought it out from Europe. They've got it into the shed at McConaughey's. They've been doing some mods on her. They've had southern spars, new boom, quite a bit of work done on her. We've got some new sails coming. So there's been a lot happening in a short period of time. The goal is the Gold Coast race, because obviously that's a good practice and feeder up to then the Keppel and then to Hamilton Island, which they're doing all of those races. And I think the Gold Coast is really a critical race in the program for Hobart, because it takes us out of winter and reminds us that shakes off the cobwebs. It's generally an easier race because we're going north, not south. But it's the first overnighter of, or a couple of overnights, depending on the size of the boat, that we get to do, and the time goes very quickly between the Gold Coast race and lining up on Boxing Day for the start of the Sydney Hobart.
Well, what are you on the Brisbane race?
On the Gold Coast race, I'm on Maserati, the Volvo 70 with Jim Cooney and his family, and then the Keppel race, and then I'm going up to Hamilton Island to sail on Wild Oats 100, which will be quite interesting because there'll be both the Wild Oats boats, both the 66 and the 100 will be at Hamilton Island this year. Prince Frederik from Denmark is chartering the 66, and we'll have a number of the Wild Oats crew. So Ian Murray's moving over to the 66, and I'll be hopping on the 100. So we'll up there to have a bit of fun.
So you'll have two Wild Oatses at the...
Yep, there'll be two Wild Oatses, and that happens every few years.
Yeah,
they get the two boats up there, and it's great to see. And I was just, in fact, we were out sailing on the 66, just commissioning some new sails today, and the boat is in immaculate condition. It is impressive. It is just faultless in its preparation.
What design is that?
That's a Rykel Pew 66, one of the first canting keel boats. I'm going off memory now, it was probably built around 2001 or 2, and it was the predecessor to then building the Wild Oats 100, which was I think launched in 2005 for the 2005 Hobart race, where both Alpha and Wild Oats, the two Rykel Pews in those days, they were 98 footers, and they went head to head, and the first score went to Wild Oats. She beat us. I was on Alpha that year, and then we came back. They didn't go against each other in the Hobart race again until we came back against them in 2009, and the role got reversed where Alpha beat Oats.
Great race, that one.
Yeah, yeah. And Hobart this year is really warming up well with Blackjack 100 coming out. Last year, as we know, it was won by Anthony Bell's Loyal. And
will that be there this year?
I don't know the answer to that, but unofficially, I believe the boat may be in the process of changing hands, and so we'll watch this space and see. So we'll actually see what happens there. And but I know the boat's on the market, and I think there's been some interest in her. Also, I believe the rumour is Comanche's coming out again. Mm-hmm. So, and I assume the old Ragamuffin is racing again, Scallywag. You may know better than me, but I think that she may be coming back out for the Hobart again.
So, yeah.
So, you know, it could be a big boat fest again.
That's another 100 footer?
Yeah, I don't know. I know she's in Europe. I've been reading she's been sailing in Europe of late.
And she's coming back for it?
Yep, she's coming back for sure. So looks like from the spectator point of view, getting out of the heads, it's going to be another big one.
It's going to be certainly with 5 boats or 5 or 6 boats.
Yeah, but let's not forget what the race is all about. It's about the small boats, and you know, I think that there's it's pretty good interest in the Hobart again already this year. Early indications are the numbers will be up there, and you know, you got the old favourites like Tony Kirby and Patrice, and Matt Allen, I believe, is going to have his new 52 footer, and he has his 60 footer. As you know, he often looks at the weather forecast to work out which boat he's planning on sailing, but I know he's got a new 52 under construction, and he was hoping to have that out for Hamo, but it's raining a little bit late, but I'm sure he'll be on the starting line for Hobart.
So what about in the rest of the fleet, the smaller boats? Are there any news down there? You've got your
yeah. We're working with quite a few programs of the smaller boats. I mean, it's a little bit way out yet to know for sure who's going to line up. One interesting boat, which is not necessarily a small boat, but the 60-footer Triton. We're working with them at the moment, and a gentleman from Melbourne named David Goetz, who's been a long time offshore and inshore racer from far 40s to offshore sailing. He's firing up the old Triton, which was Dickie Corr's boat, and he's having keel modifications done, and we're doing some work on the sails, and he's really enthusiastic, and he's going to do both the Southport, I believe Keppel, and definitely Hamilton Island, or sorry, I should say Gold Coast race now, I think it's called. And he's going up to Hamilton Island also, and then he's going to do the blue water racing for leading up to Hobart. But he won't be in his new configuration until after Hamo. So he's preparing everything before that, and then we start to gear up to the next level for Hobart. So that's a good boat. That's always been a solid boat. That's be a really good Hobart boat.
So you're also big in the Etchells. So you've had the Mooloolaba series?
Yeah. I've been sailing Etchells for longer than I like to remember. Since 1982, I started racing Etchells with Dave Forbes, one of Australia's greatest yachtsmen, gold medalist. And but we had the midwinters on last month up at Mooloolaba, and another great turnout. I believe that's the best regatta for Etchells in Australia, in the Southern Hemisphere. Every year we had 39 boats. North Sails were a sponsor of it. We always donate a jib and to the regatta, and also other bits and pieces to help with the running of the regatta. And it was won by the current Australian champion, GT Graham Taylor, James Mayo and Mothi Jarvan, who are doing their warm-up for going to the Worlds in San Francisco. So we've got a couple of pretty good boats going from Australia, being GT, and also we've got Ian Murray going over to that regatta, and was out sailing with Ian yesterday. He's just returned from the America's Cup in his role there as the race director, and now he's focusing on his own sailing, so he's quite excited about, as he said, I've got nothing else to do and I'm unemployed at the moment. so in fact I went sailing with him yesterday and I went sailing with him today on Wild Oats, a 66 footer. So Ian's really keen. He's going to be sailing with Richie Allenson, who's over in the corner over here working on the sails at the moment. Yeah. And then I think the third person is either going to be Ewan McNichol or Grant Simmer, who's also just finished at the America's Cup.
America's Cup, yeah. Well, of course, he was heavily with the Defender, wasn't he?
Yeah. He's been running the Oracle team for a number of years and was successful. Any news on that?
Are they going to get going again, or?
I only hear talking to people like Ian, and my understanding is that Oracle may not continue. I don't have any insight to that. Everyone's asking the questions, what's it going to be, multi-hulls or mono-hulls? And
TP52s?
No, I don't think it'll be TP52s. I've heard it's either multi-hulls or around an 80 to 90 foot canting keel mono-hull, but it's only gossip, it's only rumour. Neville Crichton thinks it might go that direction. Ian Murray thinks it might stay with multi-hulls. I don't know. There's a lot of speculation, so it'll be interesting, but whatever it is, I'm sure they'll be very exciting boats. I mean, obviously there's a big difference between a multi-hull and a mono-hull, but you can do a lot to make a more high-performance mono-hull also. So I think either way it'd be really interesting which way it goes. So with the actuals at Mooloolaba, we're really pleased being a sponsor, and also the results. North Sails took 1 to 11. We're exclusively on all but the 5th boat, but we had sales on the 5th boat, but it was a mixed inventory, but all other placings were North Sails, which was great. What is an interesting change in sailing for this year for Sydney Harbour will be in the 18-footer fleet, because there's been a really big changing of the guard. My nephew and namesake, which confuses a lot of people, difference is I'm close to 60 and he's a bit over 40. He is the current JJ Giltinan champion, and he's decided to retire. He won the regatta many years ago and he won it again this year. So he's just got a young family, and he's said it's time that I probably invested a little bit of time in the family. So he's going to pass on his sponsorship of Thurlow Fisher, and there've been quite another of other stalwarts in the class who've been sailing it for many years. David Witt, who runs Scallywag, he's retiring. Marcus Ashley Jones, who also sails on Scallywag. Jack McCartney. He's hanging up his trap belt. There've been quite a few boats, of all the old guys, when I say old guys, they're in their sort of 40s, who have actually decided to hang up their trap belts, and so we get seeing quite a long new guys coming in, and I've been talking to a number of them, because we do most of the 18-foot skiff sales, and so it's good to see fresh faces. And I think the Australian boat that's going to be the standout, I think, will be Smeg. Lee Napton and his crew of Mike McKenzie and Ricky Bridge. They won the JJ 2 years ago, and didn't have a great last JJs, which I think if you looked at it, Lee Napton had twins, his first babies 2 days before the regatta, and Ricky had his wife had their first child about a couple of weeks before the regatta, so I think they had their focus elsewhere. So they're coming back with a vengeance and with clear heads, and they want to really take it on again this year and come away with that trophy, which will be hard because of the Kiwis are just getting better and better all the time, and which is great to see. The competition, there's always great rivalry between Australia and New Zealand, whether it be in sailing or football or whatever, but they've been kicking our backsides in the football, so let's hope we can hang on to that sailing side of it a bit longer.
Well, surely. Now there's lots of word around the docks about an Australian challenge for the America's Cup. next time?
I've heard bits and pieces. I don't have anything firm to report there, but I've got to say
we're full of gossip. We just love
we are full of gossip. The talk is cheap. I would like to think that if it's, I guess it might depend a little bit on where it's being held. If it's being held in Auckland, I think that would probably help an Australian syndicate get together a lot easier than if it's on the Northern Hemisphere, because really to a sponsor, Australia's so isolated, so to a sponsor you need either an international brand behind it, or if it's a local brand, if it's too far from home, you're going to struggle to get that support. So we've probably got more options from the commercial side if it's held in the Southern Hemisphere, and Auckland's just another city of Australia, isn't it?
Just as well. It's pretty close. It's just as close as Perth, isn't it?
Yeah. Probably close.
Well, that sounds good, mate. But I just saw a stuff and business in New Zealand. They came out that it was going to be held in Queenstown.
Oh, okay, could be. I don't know.
Can you imagine that?
I got no idea, but I've heard that their AC team are actually doing a bit of a ticker tape parade around New Zealand at the moment. Yeah, so they're
just in Christchurch.
Yeah, great. It's fantastic. So I think it's great that the country's got behind them and they can actually travel around the country and get support like that. And now I think change is as good as a holiday. With all due respect to Oracle, who've done a fantastic job. But I think if there's dominance for too long in any sporting event, I think it perhaps loses a little bit of its shine or interest. And I think having the change of hands here, I think is really fresh. I mean, look what happened when Australia won it from the Americans. I mean, it changed the whole focus of the Cup forever then. So I think the change is great, and so let's see what happens. We'll watch this space.
So it's coming into the summer season, as we said. It's all going to be fairly busy, starting from the end of this month. Yeah,
well, it's busy already. I mean, I don't even know where winter's gone. I mean, it's. I think the industry's in pretty good shape right now. The sailing industry in Australia. It's surprised me that winter's just gone in a blink. So we're already back into it. I mean, with the Gold Coast race starting at the end of this month. We're busy for that, and we've got our travelling sail service circus going up to Hamilton Island. So we basically take a trailer load of sewing machines and equipment and staff and go and commit to helping the Hamilton Island Race Week. Sure. And the island's very kind to us there. They give us premises to operate from, and so we can do all the sail service. So that's a big commitment, and that's really the Gold Coast is the kick-off of the season. Although it's still very cold, we've still got our fires and heaters on. Yes, we're going north, and when you're going north, it's not bad.
It's a good feeling, isn't it? Yes. About the island, just one question: is there problems as far as Cyclone Debbie?
No, I'm told. I'm told. Yeah, yes. There's no question that that all of the Whitsundays got a hammering there from nature. But I also know that I spoke to Sandy Oatley a couple of weeks ago, and he said, look, they've just taken it on, and Glenn Burke, the CEO up there, he'd be all over it, and he's sailing with us on Wild Oats, the 100-footer, and I guarantee that apart from maybe a couple of trees less, I'm sure that no one will even know there's been a hurricane go through there.
And also too in Melbourne after Christmas, isn't it? It's the IRC Championships? Yeah,
the IRC National Championships. North Sails are proud to announce that last week we did a deal with Australian Sailing, and we're going to be the sponsors of the IRC Nationals, both in January 2018. Trying to get my dates right. 2018 down at Sandringham Yacht Club, so we'll be the sponsor there, and we've committed to the following year in Hobart to be the IRC national sponsor down in Hobart the following year. So our goal is to give something back to the sport, support those who support us. And so you'll see North Sails proudly associated with both those regattas, both in a support role, and you'll see all of us out on the water also.
Well, that's a fairly big piece of news, isn't it? Because the fact that you guys have been fairly quiet, haven't you, over the last few years?
Yeah, well, I think it's a part of, it's a global company now, and it's a policy of the company now is to actually support yachting and look at areas that we can actually give back. And we see it as a great opportunity to give back to the Australian yachting scene. So we're looking forward to it, and we're proud to be associated with Australian Sailing and the yacht clubs who are hosting these major events.
Well, it's going to be pretty busy in Victoria at that time of the year, where you've got the race to the Devonport race, you've got the Hobart race going past, you've got the Festival of Sails, you've got
yeah, well, the goal is that
the Volvo. What about the Volvo?
Yeah, for sure. It's all going to be happening. So the timing of the regatta is planned so people can do the Hobart race and then have time to, in a leisurely fashion, get their boats back on their, deliveries back to wherever they may be going on the east coast of Australia or over to Adelaide, is actually go to Port Phillip Bay and the Sandringham Yacht Club and then join in this major event. And we're hoping, we know a number of our clients are supporting it. I'm going to be sailing down there on 9 Dragons, Bob Cox's BK46, so I'm looking forward to that. I'm hoping that we'll see Concubine over from Adelaide, who's definitely going to do the Hobart this year, and she unfortunately dropped a stick before last year's Hobart. So that's now back in the boat and all the sails are repaired and everything's up and going. So she'll be campaigning in the Hobart race, and then we hope to see her up at the IRC Nationals.
Well, it sounds like a busy time for you, Coxon.
Yeah, no, it's going to be a great summer coming up.
Well, that sounds great, mate. Well, look, good luck, and I'm sure that we'll be talking to each other very closely during the next few months, and let us know what's going down.
Shall do. Thank you very much.